Welcome back. If you don't know who I am, my name is Edith, and I like to read books and yap about them to you guys. And today we're gonna yap a very little bit about books and a lot more about all my other hobbies. I like having hobbies. I would say I have a lot of grandma hobbies, but I also feel like grandma hobbies are so more and more people are starting to do them, at least what I see online, and of course that is curated to me, so of course I see it more. But I've seen a lot more people trying to get into these kind of hobbies and stuff like that. So I filmed a few clips yesterday. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I did yesterday. First off, being crochet. And we can start talking about the thing I crocheted yesterday, and then I have a pile of all the crocheted stuff I have up here and that I still use. One thing I don't have up here is my horror movie figures, which I actually kind of want to go get those because I'm in such a horror mood, and summer is coming up, so it's Summerween, if anybody knows what that is. But I figured out we would just go over some of the stuff I have here with me that I've crocheted. And like I said, let's start off with the one I was filming yesterday that I actually finished. This bag. I had a lot of scrap yarn, which, if you don't know, that is basically just leftover yarn. You don't have enough to make a whole project. And so this ended up becoming kind of like a sunsetty kind of colors with a little bit of green in there. And that actually wasn't on purpose, but I started it and then that just kind of happened. But it's a very cute little handbag, and while of course this doesn't have the same structure that a normal handbag would, this is very cute, and the idea of walking around with something you made, adorable. So I finished that. And before that, I actually made another bag, which I'm also very proud of, which is this bag right here, which is basically just two squares and then one long line of this put together. And then I made this little thing to tie it together to hold it, and I made sure to make it long enough to go over the shoulder but also cross body. Very happy about this. And then I have a bunch of tops, which I know I made more, but I got rid of a few of them because beginner me did not make tops I would actually wear. I made very small crop tops and stuff like that, and I just do not use those. I also made a bunch of bikini tops, but I don't really want to show those. They're also very basic, triangles. But one of the tops I recently made that I'm actually very proud of is this. It's ruched at the front and has a little bow here. And then, like most crochet tops, it's open in the back and it ties. And then before I made that, I made another one that I actually really liked, which is this one, because if you don't know, my favorite color is blue, and I saw this pattern for the ocean, so I actually bought the pattern to use for that. This is way more open in the back. This covers to the middle of my body, whereas the other one goes to way behind on my back. So for that reason, I'm afraid I won't be wearing this that much, but I do want to wear it. So we'll figure that out. And then we have actually one of the first very successful tops I made, which this I won't show pictures in because they're not really YouTube friendly, but it is this butterfly top. This goes up. So like that. And honestly, this is so adorable. And I would totally wear this if I'm having a day at a party or something where I feel comfortable in my own body, which does happen sometimes. And then last but not least, we have this top, which is just a big square. And then it has for around the neck and for around the body, which this just sits a little bit weird on me, but I have worn it and I do want to wear it. So. And then we have accessories. Those are the ones I feel are great for beginners. This one too, because this one is, like I said, just a square. You just work around it and you can search up any type of granny square tutorial on YouTube and just do that one. And the same thing with most of these. This is probably the easiest of the easy, a headband, which I'm not going to put this on fully, but you can you can see what it's supposed to be. And again, this is so quick and easy because you just do this up and down, and then you make a short little chain that goes around a tie. And then these I made so long ago, but I made fingerless gloves because I wanted gloves, but I'm not sure I could make them. Anyway, these are, like I said, very old. First of all, I made a green pair, and I made one short, one long, and then I made another short in case I just wanted them to match. I don't actually use these that often, but I should because they're actually kind of cool, I still think. And I made the short pair in purple as well, but only short. And then I made this, which I'm not as happy about. I think I used like too thick yarn, so instead of like falling over my head, it kind of sticks out a little bit and like gives me kind of bunny ears or something. But I did wear it one day actually and kind of enjoyed it. So again, this, I don't remember which pattern I used, but most of these are made from free YouTube patterns. So if you want to get into crochet, I would literally just look it up on YouTube. And then I really had a phase where I got into making different like teddy bears kind of, where I made all the horror movie ones, which I will insert pictures of because like I said, I don't have them here. I do want to get them. And actually, this guy is one of the first ones I made. I lost his eye somewhere. That is the thing with this one, which is why you can see it's the first one I made. I didn't have the eyes, so I bought them after I finished him. And normally you would like stick something in behind to keep the eye stuck. I didn't do that here, so they fall off, and now it's gone. Got it. So if you don't know, is this I don't remember what his name is, but the dog from A Nightmare Before Christmas. His smile is also kind of crooked, but I feel like that's kind of the charm of homemade stuff. And I'm actually really proud of him because he started an obsession. And then this one I showed not that long ago in the reading Bailey's bookshelves favorite book. I showed the fact that I made this one, which is kind of inspired by her Jellycat or the Jellycat. But that is in fact all the stuff I've crocheted. I feel like in this video we're going to talk about the next project I decided to make, which might be another scrap yarn because I'm trying to get through some of all of the yarn I own. And then the only other, oh no, I have one more hobby, but we're going to get into the entire reading journal thing. I want to show my reading journal and stuff like that. With that said, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from talking, and I think next clip is going to be me talking about my reading journal because it does mean a lot to me. So, I lied. I didn't lie. I just changed my mind. We're going to be doing something else. We're going to be baking, which is one of my more minor hobbies. Like, I really enjoy baking, but first of all, I'm broke. Second of all, I don't always have the time and energy to bake. Like, baking is one of those things that takes more energy out of me, but I all of a sudden felt like baking banana bread. So that's what we're going to be trying to do. I didn't buy from a specific recipe, so I do have some dishes too after dinner that I have to get done, but for the banana bread, I have a few things. The most important one being, actually, I don't want to call it the most important one, but I have flour. And then I have 2 bananas, which is where I am a little bit questioning if that's enough or if I had needed like 3, but we'll figure that out. Bonus points if yours are like brown. Mine are just starting to brown, which I just can't wait anymore. So, and then I have chocolate, which I decided to go on a caramel and like sea salt dark chocolate, and then I have some smaller dark chocolates that I don't eat, so therefore I might as well use them. And then whatever else this recipe calls for. Also, again, this is not going to be a tutorial for me baking banana bread because believe me, you would do better following any kind of recipe out there. I'm also not going to link a recipe because I'm probably going to end up using different ones and stuff like that. The main thing here is open Google and search banana bread recipe and follow the first one you find or the first one you read and think, yeah, I could do this. That is my only baking tip. I'm going to do the dishes and then we're going to get back to the baking part. Alright, so I didn't film a trying because I didn't think of it. I put on some white chocolate sauce and it is amazing. So I'll see you all next time I decide to do some sort of hobby. Maybe tomorrow we'll go over my reading journal or something. I'm currently doing a hobby. Like I said, I have a pizza on the way. I've been sitting down for 2 hours doing this hobby. I cannot pull myself away from it. So I did, in fact, order a pizza, even though I probably shouldn't have. But it's going to be fine. And it is, in fact, a scrapbook, which is new. It's a new hobby that I've been wanting to do since forever. Couldn't find a cheap enough notebook, and then I found the perfect one. But I'm going to flip you guys through the pages I've already done, and then I'm going to like do a little time lapse while I eat my pizza and do the next couple pages. So basically, this is the notebook. Is that not so cute? I put this sticker on myself, which basically says, "A woman cannot survive on books alone. She also needs yarn, a lot of yarn." Because I was like, that's so me, and it's not just books, so it's great to put on this, which is more like a personal journal. Which, don't worry, I'm not gonna like, it's not my. I have another journal, which is basically just me writing down all of my deepest thoughts. This is me um, being creative, but in a more personal way. So I have a page which is basically just like, this thing belongs to me. If you find it, please do not keep reading, which is stupid because I'm showing it online now, but I want to be able to make pages in here that I probably won't show to other people. And then I have my phone number. I'm like, if found, call that number. I'm gonna do like I think I'm gonna do with the reading journal thing. I'm gonna like pop up the pictures because they're always better than whatever I can show. I have a little me page, which basically just says it's like a picture of me, which I wanted to draw myself. All of my ideas are from Pinterest. And if you're looking for them, I have my Pinterest link down below with all of like my boards, and these are all gonna be saved on there. This is on the reading journal board I own, even though it's not my reading journal, but I didn't want to make another one just for this journal. But and then it's basically me, and then I wrote a bunch of things that makes me me, so like Taylor Swift, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Friends the TV show, baking, autumn, horror movies, hobbies. I actually put down um, stuff like that, and then because I wanted to continue with the more like introduction of me type of thing, I have a little like just like different Pinterest like pins I'd saved that were very much me. And then we have my top 5 characters, movies, albums, TV shows, and artists. And then this is actually the first one I made. This is more like a junk journal kind of thing, which I really love. It's something from like mini golf. It's from Germany, Tully Garden, literally from a like grocery store I went to with my dad. I have a little bit from the Roskilde Festival, and stuff like that. And then because I wanted to continue a little bit more with the memories after that, this is so sad because the one I've used to draw on the next page here has actually gone through, but so you can see there. But it's from my concerts. It's like Billy and Sabrina, which are the concerts I've been to this year so far. And then this one I just made, which is my comfort movies. And these are the top of the tops. And that's actually what I'm going to continue with now is more movies and fictional characters. I'm going to make a spread for just like different title cards and then a spread for my favorite main male characters or like my celebrity crushes and stuff like that. But that is in fact this so far. Like I said, I'm planning on doing these 2 pages now, and then I'm gonna quit it for today. I do have more printed, but I want to like have more for other days too. So we're gonna continue that as soon as my pizza is here, and I'm just gonna do a little time lapse of me doing it. All right, I finished a few more pages. I did end up switching. I didn't watch Clueless, and then I went and I like skipped from the middle of Clueless, and then I watched a singular episode of Boy Meets World, and I cried, in case you couldn't tell in the video. And then I put on the newest Scream 6, because I bought that recently, and I made the 2 more spreads here. I made this, like, just basically just different title cards. None of these turned out the way I was planning, which is really annoying because these were like supposed to be basically like filling out the entire page side by side, but some of them were too long and like there weren't enough. And then we have my favorite fictional men, and I actually had like 4 more because on the picture I used they had 4 on like each row, and then down here I actually think they might have had like more because whatever. And I had to pick and choose, which was the biggest dilemma of my life, was having to look at my guys and decide which to not choose. I'm not gonna get into who I did choose or who I didn't choose. It was just for fun. Also, this page started falling off because I like had to rip the other side of the page off to because I drew on it and it was ugly. So I had to like glue this onto the next pages. So I basically just lost 2 pages in this book, but it's fine. And that is what I did. So now I'm going to put you guys through to me going through my reading journal. But before I do that, because this is going to be filmed very weird, because I thought I was going to film a part 2 to this video with this clip in it, and I'm not. I'm just going to insert this into my other hobbies videos. So basically, you guys aren't getting 2 videos, you're just getting 1. But I made today too, before this, I made my April spread, which basically a flower, April, the books, and then I accidentally forgot to include the fact that I had a DNF. I forgot everything about this DNF, but I actually really love the way this turned out. I think I did a really great job on the flower, and I like the layout of this. Actually, I would have wished I just ignored the DNF, but I didn't. And so now I'm gonna patch you guys through, because that was a little teaser. I'm gonna patch you guys through to me a while ago when I actually finished this video for a full flip through of this. It's time to talk about another one of my favorite hobbies, and that is my reading journal, which I started it this year. I bought this specific one for the color, technically, because I really loved this color. I did film a little clip of me doing a spread in this one, but I wanted to talk about the spreads as a whole. And like I said, this is my first time doing a reading journal, so I've made some mistakes, I've made some stuff I'm really happy about. We're gonna try to put this one here and hope that it still picks up enough of the sound. Anyway, like I said, with all of this, none of this is going to be a tutorial. I can link a few videos down below that I watched when I wanted to get into it if you guys feel like you need more in-depth tutorial. This is just me showing off some of the ones I've made. And I don't have a tripod, otherwise I would film like a flip through, but instead I have some pictures I can insert, and I'm just going to try and show you guys the different stuff. So the first one, this is really weird, but it's literally just like this belongs to, and then I wrote my signature, which this is like not a part of it, honestly. And then it has a few like self-insert for like I don't remember what this is called, but like, oh yeah, content page, but I've like filled it out a little bit, but I don't think I'm gonna keep doing that, also just because I don't think there's room enough. And then we have an intro page. And then I have my reading goals, which I am not proud of how I wrote goals on this. I like the idea of it being like a letter coming out of an envelope, but the top of it is just not done well. Anyway, I put 4 different goals. I have my reading goal, which is 65 books. And then I have read 3 nonfiction books, which I actually only need to read 1 more nonfiction before that goal's been hit. And then I said read my 25 for 2025, which is my TBR for 2025. And then I have read 30 books from physical TBR. And the goal is to read 30 books from like the physical TBR before the year started. But I will see how it goes, and maybe I'll just do 30 from the overall physical TBR, even if I bought them this year. And then I have my rating system, which again, I think I have a picture of this. The stars aren't great, but it's still like, this is mostly for me to see the colors. I have to color in for the different stuff. And actually, and now we come to some of my favorite ones. My 25 for 2025. Most of these are taken from Pinterest. Almost none of these are my own original ideas. I don't have any original ideas, mostly. But I really love the way this one looks. So it's basically just reading, and then it's 25 for 2025. And then all of the books, and then I like color them in once I read them, which, if you can see, it's not going by as good as I had hoped it would. But I'm thinking of doing videos focused on this, like maybe a series where it's like reading some of these books. And then my other favorite, my series tracker, which I actually recently in another video made a part 2 to this. I need to find it here because I was running out of room and I had some series I really wanted to start. Then I have a little bracket to find the book of the year, which is going to be really interesting. I have a feeling at some point already, April, such a good month. And then I did a little book bingo, which is actually going really great, if I must say so myself. And then here we have my physical TBR, which is split into books I had at the start of the year and books I bought in 2025. This shelf starting here, that's books I bought in this year. And then this was my first monthly wrap up, so it's not done how I decided to do it afterwards, but this part is really cute. I wanted to do stats and then I didn't do it cute. So this is, ignore this, but this is my January spread. And then this is where it gets a little bit weird because then I wanted more spreads. So if I had to give away one thing, it would be to make sure to leave some blank pages for more like overall spreads. So that way, maybe if you want the monthly ones to be right after each other, you can do that. But I wanted to do a little book tracker, which is basically the books I read, so I colored them in from the rating. And so far, I've read 26 books, which is pretty well done, I think. And then I want to do an A to Z challenge, which most of these are just going to be like fun. Every time I finish a book, I normally flip through this entire thing and update it. And then I made a books to buy, which honestly, I have not stuck to this. This was to try and save money, but instead I've been going a lot of like, I'm just buying left and right. Or technically I'm not buying, but my mom has been really kind and giving me a bunch. And then I made some from different books I really liked, which was what I was doing in the earlier clips of this. But before those, I made one for Perks of Being a Wallflower, which has some of my favorite quotes. We accept the love we think we deserve, and in this moment, I swear we are infinite. I'm not going to read that, but that's the entire like finishing monologue. And then I made one for The Boys of Tommen, but at this point I had only read, I think, like to Saving Six. But again, a lot of different quotes, pictures that I kind of think represent the two couples. I have a lyric from Seven, because when I think about any of these couples, specifically Shawnee and Janon, I think about, and I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted, your dad is always mad, and that must be why. And you cannot fight with me on that. And then my February, which this I'm definitely way more proud of. Also, I just love the fact that I read 8 books. Ignore the fact that these are kind of like this is too high up, but I think it's cute anyway. And then I made one for my spring and summer TBR, which if you're curious what that is, I will link the video somewhere. And then a spring reading challenge, which I'm doing with a Patreon group for Madison Kate's book club. And I did it kind of like my book bingo, where I just color them in when I've read them. And then here I started doing the new series tracker and didn't like it, so I just skipped that. March, I don't know what this is, and this is kind of weird too, but this is the March spread. And then, like I said, a new series tracker, and then we make it to the ones I showed, which was Sunrise on the Reaping, Say You'll Remember Me, which I printed out way too many pictures, so I decided to just do 2 pages of that, and then the Shepherd's King duology, which I recently finished and loved. And that is what I've made so far. So I'm sorry this video is going to be so like more chatty instead of doing the hobbies, but I feel like I wanted to like introduce some of my favorite hobbies. So we're going to end off this video here. If you're curious about more of my hobbies, we can talk about it real quick. I like to paint. I'm not good at it, but I enjoy painting every once in a while with watercolors. And I recently got into coloring, like every single other girl on this planet. I really like coloring books, so I've been trying to get into that as well. But I feel like those are like the ones I showed in depth are like my main hobbies, and then sometimes if I feel like it, I color or paint and stuff like that. But the ones I do most often is definitely reading, crocheting, and updating my reading journal. And then I bake every once in a while, which I'm so happy I got to include that in this video. But if you do enjoy more like sit down chatty videos like this, like about stuff that I really care about, comment down below. Comment down below any of your favorite hobbies. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notifications. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.